Today we've got something really exciting, a vintage 1960s vegetable chopper that promises to handle everything from soft fruits to tough, hard vegetables. But is it really strong enough to cut all the 28 foods listed here in the instruction manual without it self-destructing? We're going to find out, and we'll also use the Gadget to make this classic Swiss apple and potato pancake recipe, straight from the instruction manual. This Gadget is 60 years old, but I think it looks a bit futuristic. It certainly was for its time. Doesn't this look like a touch screen? Push these switches to the open position, and the whole thing springs up. It's got a top and bottom cutting ring, which are really strong and well made, and very sharp. And when I refitted them after washing them, I realised you can rotate the top blade into 3 different positions. Number 2 position is for cutting squares, number 3 gives you thick slices, and at number 1 position the blades are staggered to give you thin slices. We're starting by cutting the soft foods first, and if it doesn't break, we'll work our way through all the hard stuff. There's things I think it might struggle with, like pineapple, turnips, and squash. And I noticed the last thing in the instruction manual is shrimp. A little bit weird, but I guess we'll try that too. So first up, a banana. Now this should go through easily, but let's give it a try. I've snapped it into 2 and... oh no, there's a load of it stuck up in the blade. If I tap it a little on the work surface, that's better, it's fallen through. And well, it's definitely sliced it nice and evenly, but it was a little sticky for the blades. And I think I'm going to have to give it a wash between each item of food. Next I'm trying a mushroom and... again, it's stuck in the blade, but I can just reach through and grab it. And it has cut them beautifully, perfectly even. But how about a strawberry? That's worked well. Maybe I wasn't pushing it down fast enough on the other 2 to push it all through. But how will it handle this cucumber? I cut a section the right size and pushed it on through. Look at that, no problems at all. And if I put the end bit through like this... again, it's cut that easily. Now, I know it did well on the smaller mushroom, but how about if we try it on one of these really big ones? I'm going to tear it into pieces, and... again, it's stuck in the blade. Let's try turning the blade for squares. Line it up, and give it a good push down, and... oh no! Check it out, look at that, it's all stuck at the top. And I didn't even realise to begin with, but it's even taken the cutting ring with it. What a mess. I'm going to have to clean all of these little bits out now with a knife. Now let's try a tomato. Apparently we need to cut down through the skin first before we use the plunger, so I pushed it down through a little to get it started. I'm trying thin slices for this one, and let's give it a good push down. Oh no, look at that. We've got juice and seeds underneath, and a tomato pancake here. Thankfully there's nothing stuck in the top, but that's made a right mess. I'm going to have to separate the cutters and peel it back off. Look at that. But what if I tried doing thicker slices? So let's grab another tomato. I'm pushing it down through the blades again a little, and this time with a firm push down. Yes, it's actually worked. That's come out really well. But how well will it work with cheese? I'm cutting off a piece the right size to fit on, and I'll give it a squeeze down. Oh, this feels weird. It's really thick and sticky, and... oh no, it's a disaster. That wasn't supposed to happen. The top blade is stuck up at the top, and there's cheese everywhere. What a mess. Let's take the cutters out. You can see I was trying to do the thin slices again, but I think this cheese is just too sticky for the machine. Next is this hard-boiled egg. This is one of my favourite ways to peel them. Then I placed it onto the machine, and let's give it a quick push down. Well, it's worked, but again, half of it's stuck up in the blades, so I think you're definitely better off with a proper egg slicer. If you're enjoying this video, you might like some of my others too. There's loads more on the channel. And do make sure to hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss my future content. But now, back to the chopper. The instruction manual says it's good with cranberries, but I couldn't find any, so I'm going to try it with blueberries. We're on the thin cut setting again. Look at this, an absolute mess. How many times am I going to have to clean this thing out? Next I'm going to try it with this pickled beetroot. Finally, that worked fine. Then I turned the blades around to the thicker setting, and I want to see if it'll cut a whole pear. It won't fit in like this, so I'm putting the top bit in first, then I'm going to use the machine to squeeze the rest through. Yes, that's worked well. I think it should work okay with peach too, just to make sure you don't put the stone through. There we go, nice little slices. Next I spooned a load of olives onto the cutter. Give it a quick push down and... oh no, there's a few that have gone through and cut nicely, but the rest are just a mess. And I actually found it easiest to push them on through with a knife. But how about a couple of cloves of garlic? I don't think this should be too sticky or anything, and I'm hoping it'll work. Ha! Look at that! Straight through, no problems. They are still a bit big, so I'm going to try putting them back through again, to cut them all a little bit smaller. There are a few stuck in between the blades now, but nothing too bad. They're easy enough to push through. Next I'm trying this courgette, or zucchini. Let's chop it in half, and again I want to try pushing it in through long ways. So I'm pushing it through the blades first, a little, and then I pushed it on through. And that's actually worked really well. And I'll do the other half too. They're cut perfectly. It was really quick, and they would be ideal for a recipe. Next I'm going to try making apple sticks. So I turned the cutter into position number 2, and I'm going to place this whole apple on the top, complete with the stalk. Now let's see what happens. Oh wow, that's amazing. Check it out, we've got perfect little apple sticks. You can even see the ones that are holding the pips. And if we take a little look through, yeah, here's the centerpiece with the stem still attached. Next is a green pepper. For this one, I'm going to cut the top off, then I'm going to remove all the insides. But placing it on top, it might be a little bit too big. Let's give it a go. And... oh wow, it's pushed it all through. Look at that, that's really cool. And we've even got pieces like this from the side. But how well does it work with green beans? Again, these are a little bit too long to fit on, so let's cut them in half and place them on like this. And with a firm push down, they're all nicely cut, and they go everywhere a bit, so I want to see, can I get them all to land in a drinking glass? Let's place the rest on top, and push it all through again. Yeah, not bad. Most of them got caught in the glass. But how about celery? This can be quite stringy. I'm cutting it into sections. Now let's place the first piece on, and... well, that's worked. And it's really cool actually. I can just keep doing piece after piece. It's done it really well. These pieces are lovely and even, and it was really quick. We're starting to get to some of the harder stuff now. So what about a radish? We're going to go for thin cuts here. And look at that. Straight through, one after another. Ideal for a salad or something. The instruction manual also says melons. This is obviously far too big and hard to fit through like this, so I chopped off the end, then peeled off the skin, and chopped it into 4. This is lovely and soft now, so it should cut it easily. And no surprise there, that worked fine. If we turn it to the squares, I can push this one through into my other hand. That's cool, and it would be perfect for a fruit salad or something. But next I'm switching it back round to the thicker cut, and we're going to try it with an orange. Now this is going to be a real test. Again, it says to cut through the peel a little bit first, so I'm rubbing it back and forward on the blades, and you can see from the underside it started to cut through. Then with a firm push down... this is actually taking quite a bit of effort, but there we go, it's all through. Look at that, I'm actually really impressed. There's a little bit of juice running out, but it has worked. Although I think I'd prefer to use a knife. Next I rotated it to the thin slice. It's a bit difficult to see because of the angle. And we're going to try the same again with this lemon. I started it going, and you can see from underneath that it's making a lot of cuts now. So I'm going to give it a good push down, and... oh no, I think I've just made lemon juice. That's definitely not worked. Look at that. And again, if I try hammering it down through a bit. But no, it feels like I might just break the machine. So I'm going to stop there. Let's lift the cutters out and separate them. And I'm going to have to peel the lemon back off the blades. Ha! Look at that. It's like halfway cut through, and I can fan it open. Now, before we go on to some of the even harder things, which I'm worried might actually break the gadget, I think we better try making the pancake recipe. The recipe says we need 1 onion. I peeled this one and placed it on. And it cut through it perfectly. This would be absolutely ideal for making onion rings. But the recipe actually says we want diced onion. So I'm going to try putting this onion through the square cutter. Again, it's gone through perfectly, but these pieces of onion are quite big, and because of all the layers in the onion, some of the pieces have actually come out like this. Far too big for our pancakes. So I placed a handful back on the top and pushed them through again. That's better, although I did find that the cutter got stuck up in the top again. Now, I want to try using a potato to do something really cool with this gadget. So, if we start with wide slices and push it through, we get these nice uniform pieces. But next, what I can do is turn the cutter to the squares, layer the potato back on top, and I'm going to try pushing them down into this bowl. But then I noticed these metal lugs that slide up and down when I push the plunger. And if I'd pushed down hard, it would have smashed the bowl. So I'm going to have to do it without the bowl instead. And there we go, instant cubes. These are a decent size and they'd be great for frying, but our pancake recipe calls for miniature diced. So to make these with the gadget, first we need to rotate it for thin slices and push the potato through like this. Now if I place the potato back on top and push it all through again, yes, look at that, we've got some lovely thin sticks. And now, if we want to make miniature diced, we can put them back on top again, the other way around. And when I push them through, we've got hundreds of these miniature diced potatoes. And if I compare them to the size of the other ones we did first, you can see they're a lot smaller. And of course, if you wanted to just make some fries, you can push a whole potato straight through the cutters like this. Pretty cool, huh? The recipe also calls for a miniature diced apple. So this time I removed the core with a coring gadget. And I'm doing exactly the same again as we just did with the potato. Push them all through this way. And we've got these tiny little apple sticks. Then if I put them back through the other way around. Yeah, look at that. Now we've got the potato, onion and apple ready. And I've also got eggs and flour. And to separate the eggs, I'm using this vintage gadget. It's called a dotty, and it's made from aluminium. Sit it on the glass, and just crack the egg in. And the egg white drops down through. For the recipe, we need to add the potato cubes into a mixing bowl, and we need 4 egg yolks altogether. Then add the flour, a pinch of pepper, some salt, the diced apple, and the onions, and mix it all together. Next we have to beat the egg whites. So I'm using this vintage hand whisk. I love this thing, it works so well. And when they're thick and fluffy, let's tip it into the bowl and fold it all together. Wow, look at this. It's certainly like no other pancake recipe I've seen before. And now it's time to cook them. I'm doing them in a frying pan on a medium heat. They're quite thick and we need them to cook through. Then when they're brown and crispy, apparently they're ready to serve. They smell really nice actually, and the recipe suggests serving them with some apple sauce or sour cream. I'm doing both. Let's cut into it and have a look. Well, it looks amazing. You can see the apples and bits of onion in there, and I'm going to try it with the apple sauce and the sour cream. That really is nice. I'm aware of the onion there, but it's really not overpowering at all. The potato gives it a really nice consistency, along with the apple, and I'm actually surprised at how much I like this. It really is good. But back to the machine, and let's try it with some harder stuff. I'm going to try it with raw carrot. I snapped a piece off, sat it in, bring the plunger down, and wow, that's worked easily. I really thought it might be too tough. If you had to cut a lot of carrots, this really would be useful. But how about pineapple? Again, it's similar to the melon. I'm going to have to slice it up first and remove all the skin. And it feels that if I'm going to the effort to do all of this with a knife, I may as well just cut it up with a knife too. But it's on the list, so I'll give it a test. First I'm putting it through this way round. And yeah, no problems. Nice thin slices. But I want to see what happens if I try pushing it through the squares. Place this bit on top, and again, that's worked quite well. But how about a turnip? I'm starting by peeling it. I switched it to the thick cuts. Place it on, and well, here goes. Oh wow, no problems at all. It's funny that some of this hard stuff actually goes through easier than some of the soft stuff. And if I turn this now to the cubes, place the turnip back on top. Actually, it's going to be a bit tricky, so I'll do half at a time. Push one bit through, and then the other. There we are, turnip cubes. That was easy. And I'm going to try the same with this butternut squash. Cut a piece off and peel it, and let's see if we can push this through all in one. Oh, I'm not sure this is going to work. Oh, Oh wow, that's hard going. It really feels like I shouldn't push too much harder. I'm putting a lot of force onto this. I really don't want to snap it. I'm using a lot of body weight here. And finally, there we go. Well, they've come out nicely. Let's try turning it into cubes. So, it doesn't fit on like this, so I'm going to have to cut the corners off. And I'll try it with 3 at a time. Pushing down and, it's not going. It's too much. I'll take 2 of the layers off and finally that's through. Put another one on and no, this really is too much for the machine. I think if I carried on like this, I'm going to end up breaking it. Oh, and finally, the very last thing on the list, the cooked shrimp. Not sure why, but there we go. It kind of works. But now, if you'd like to see how I got on making some delicious international cuisine using just kitchen gadgets, you can click on the link here. Have fun, stay safe, and as always, thanks for watching.